Our next guest at the IAM Symposium is Lori Morrison, and this is our first conversation, the first time she's been on the Winter Solstice IAM Symposium. We share an editor, and she has a new book out this year, and yet her book is about power animals. What's it called?
The Shaman's Guide to Power Animals.
All right, The Shaman's Guide to Power Animals. And yet, I think what she's presenting today is her other work. That I think she loves the shaman, and there's also this other great work. Okay, you can show that. And time for a book commercial. Where's mine? No. But what are you going to be sharing with us for the next 30 minutes?
Well, I'm going to give everyone like a little potpourri of some of the things that came to me actually since we started this whole adventure, and I'm so honored to be here. And Sandra's opening was amazing,
isn't it?
And so it just brought all of these wonderful spirits to me, and ideas and thoughts about the solstice today. And I came in black and white today because it's really about the dark and the light. So I was getting lots of symbolism in black and white. And I have to really smile when you guys were talking about the spiral, because I printed this out.
Wow.
And when Deborah was doing those beautiful spirals in her art, I was like, oh, wow, we've got some interesting similarities going on with the energy that we're all creating in this marvelous space that you have created, Renee. So thank you for letting me jump into this beautiful energy and celebrate the solstice today. I've got my fire burning and inside and outside. So it's just a lovely place. So thank you so much.
We're really honored that you're here with us. I'm going to let you take it away, and I'm going to listen. And
well, first of all, I brought you something from the spirit world.
Oh, yay. I love spirit presence.
The spirit present. And it's so funny because I sat with it before I got on, it started to prepare today. And the snowy owl came to me.
Oh.
And so of all things that I have in my Christmas decorations is snowy owl. So here he is. And so as much as I'm going to talk about crystals and things, my plant or my power animals always have a message. So today I bring you the snowy owl. And when I went to my book to read about the owl, because he of course directed me to the message for you. And what I thought was so beautiful is the shaman's intention that the snowy owl shared with me when I wrote the Power Animal book. It says, there is great wisdom in the winds.
Oh, how great is
like,
that?
oh my gosh, this is so perfect for Renee today. It says, there is such great wisdom in the winds. And it says, this would be the intention should I work with the snowy owl, would be help me to hear, help me to see, and help me to feel the ways of my ancestors and bring their messages to me. So that's my opening. That is the message of the beautiful snowy owl. And what he's brought to us today is giving us this wisdom, this wind wisdom, so that the messages from the ancestors can just come flowing in. And with our past speaker, we had that exact thing coming in, that wonderful wisdom of the ancestors. And then I was guided to this, which is the owl feathers that was given to me by a wonderful shaman friend of mine. So I brought my owl feathers also to our ceremony today. And guess what it has? It has a spiral on, on the end of of this beautiful fan that I use.
You can't make this stuff up.
I know, I was like, you can't do that. So I have my beautiful spiral where I bring my beautiful owl fan. And then at the back of the owl fan is a crystal. And so it just all falls into place, doesn't it? So lovely.
Especially with those glasses. I love your
Yeah,
glasses.
so I have my black and white for my light and dark. So everything just, spirit always, because I wake up this morning and say, well, what I'm going to talk about, and I know that they're always going to come in and give me the message that I need at the time I need it. So that trusting and that realizing that the experience will always evolve in its perfectly natural way that it's supposed to. So I bring you all of these gifts from the owl, the snowy owl today, and the spiral and all of that, and the beautiful wind messages from the ancestors. So yeah, it's just bearing gifts.
I accept them on behalf of all the fire tenders and all the people listening and the people who are going to listen. We are very excited. Thank you.
Yes, so to everyone, I bring the wisdom of the owl. And one of the things that occurred to me, I had written a poem about 4 years ago. A lovely woman she was a Shakespeare expert, and in fact, she taught Shakespeare at Vanderbilt College. She asked me to write a poem, and I was so intimidated because I was thinking, oh my gosh, here's this, Shakespeare, expert, and I have to write a poem for her. But I dug through all of my writings, and I went back to this poem. I said, this felt so perfect today. And so I'm just going to go through it if we could, and just kind of start to feel kind of why this poem came to me and where we are. And it's called From Fall to Winter, or from Summer to Winter. So it's that time of moving that we've just moved through, and now here we are, into the deep winter. So it talks about, here's the poem. So the trees reach for their most festive outfits, putting on their most colorful best. It is time to celebrate the completion of their summer labors, of entertaining bees and birds and butterflies. Then the last leaf drops. The roots are excited and celebrate the arrival of the slumber party. The remaining vibrance moves through the veins and into the roots on its journey to the underworld. Listen carefully. The mineral kingdom vibrates with their finest jewels. The spirits of the underworld are preparing their feast. The insects rush like caterers to arrive on time, scurrying around the acorns buried by the squirrels and chipmunks. The water table brings the drinks, and the leaves of the past are the elegant tablecloth of nourishment. The lower world is now in its time and place of exhilaration and festivities. Bulbs bounce and roots dance to the heartbeat of Gaia. Man slumbers in his distorted truth, footsteps of ignorance of the excitement underneath. And I think that feels so right today because we cannot avoid what is underneath us. We cannot walk in the ignorance of what's really going on underneath me right now and underneath you right now. And I love just that idea that there's just this really kick-ass party going on down there. And there's so much energy and there's so much vibrance. And here we sit on top of it. And sometimes in our ignorance, don't even realize that we can tap into that we can maybe get an invitation to that party. And as shamans, we know that the underworld is hey, it's where it's happening. It's where it's at. And so I think it's such a fun, way for us to kind of expand this view of just walking on top of the world and start to walk and feel underneath it, which is so much about the power and the ability of our planet to sustain us and to support us. So I see the summer or the winter solstice as the time where there's just this big party going on underneath my feet. And all of this is happening, and all of this energy is creating this beautiful example for all of us, that going within and being part of this beautiful energy deep in our planet can be a stunning example of how we can live our lives and how we can be part of this mineral kingdom. And I do bring the mineral kingdom today to everyone because there's 3,800 minerals located in many different locations all around the world. And, science used to believe that the core of our earth was this kind of homogeneous region of just kind of stuff. And the truth is science has now finally come around and has told us that we're all living on a crystal ball. The earth is a crystal, and we live on this huge crystal ball. And, recently there was a cave of crystals found in Chihuahua, Mexico. It's about almost 1,000 feet below the surface. And it's full of selenite, which are the largest crystals ever found. This is my lovely piece of selenite, which I feel I brought today for everyone to kind of clear our circle. And if you can imagine, the largest one that they found is 39 feet long. That's bigger than a car. And 13 feet in diameter and weighs 55 tons, just one. And, these crystals are 1 million years old. And the largest ones, would take approximately 1 million years to grow. So imagine the wisdom of our planet that exists in this beautiful crystal. A lot of people don't realize that, and I don't know if anyone on here is from New York, but New York is sitting on a bedrock of minerals full of opal, of beryl, of chrysoberyl, garnet, and 3 types of tourmaline. And in fact, during 1885, a 10-pound garnet was found beneath 35th Street in New York, close to the Macy's store, where you see the Macy's parade. And a workman found it and sold it to someone for $100. So, it's all of this is happening underneath us. This vibrance, this energy. And, we call them precious. We call the stones that, of course, are the most expensive, we call them precious. And truly they are this precious gift that we have underneath our feet. And, some of them, and many of them carry this energetic vibration that is so helpful to us when we want to shift or change or absorb the energetic energies that we have. And it's really hard to resist if you walk into a crystal shop or somewhere, to resist these just gems that come from the guy's belly. And there are timekeepers, they are wisdom keepers, they are the holders of the meaning of life. And they're capable of healing us and bringing us a unique vibration. I think at this time of year when we have snowflakes, and I'm looking forward to snow. I'm here in Sedona and we're going to have snow, so I'm very excited. If you think of a snowflake, that is really a footprint for all of us. We all have that vibration if we're in a high one and keep maintaining our crystalline feature. Each snowflake is like our signature. It's our winter signature. And so it's a place where we store, it's a place where we send, a place where we receive information as snowflakes. And here in Sedona, we have so much of the encoded wisdom of the Lemurians and the seed crystals that they planted. When they were forced to leave their homes in the South Pacific, they set out and settled in many places in the Americas, Mount Shasta, some in India, some in Egypt, some in Peru. And they carried with them this intention that once our civilization was ready to return to those crystal ideals of love and higher consciousness, that the seeds would come forward. The seeds of these crystals would come forward and release the stored wisdom to light workers, to all of us who are working to receive and transmit, this energy. So this is what's happening at this very moment, is this, these roots are coming to connect us, day by day, to this kind of common history and this evolution. So, we think of gems with, as, things worn by kings and queens and oracles and priests and priestesses. But there was a life to them. There was an energy to them. And that's why they did that. Because they honored them. They honored the wisdom and the energetic message and power, that they brought. So now when we come together with these energetic ley lines, that pass through this grid system that is on our planet, and it extends outward into the northern axis point and then re-enters the southern axis. This is the crystal grid. This links all of these crystals together in this earth. And where these grids cross are major portals. These are our vortexes, plenty here where I am. And it's our connection to that other dimensional world, our connection to reach the solar system, to, move beyond. And these are the places where many of the sacred temples have been built. So when we have these moments of awakening, it's often because we're visiting a sacred place, or we're in a place where the grid has come together. And so when we have the solstice, this is when all of this aligns. This is when everything, the grid starts to come together. And, with Jorge Arguellos, who I studied and was initiated by Mayan spirits. And, Jorge talked about the crystalline 144 grid, which was this emerging grid system that began to awaken in 1987. And interpretations by the Mayan calendar was a 26-year countdown to the 2012. But then now we move even further as we go into the next frequency dates, which will be completed by 2024. So we move into 2020, moving towards, we continue to move through with our physical and etheric body into the use of higher frequencies. And so by tapping into crystals and specific gemstones, the grid grows, the sphere grows, the connections grow, and we can achieve this multidimensional access as we move into this energetic place that we're all going to. And the ancients called this the 1,000 years of peace, this place where the optimum balance would occur, when the black and the white would meet in the center, that there would be no more extremes. So I bring the black and white today to talk about this and to share this, because I was very, and you mentioned the Southern Hemisphere, which is where mostly I spent most of my life in El Salvador. And there is they're celebrating the opposite. So we are talking about opposites, no matter where we are on the planet. And so I brought this other little friend of mine, Symbol, wanted to come today. And this is Tumi. Okay, I have a little my Tumi. This is Tumi. Okay. And Tumi, this was given to me on my birthday in Machu Picchu when I was in Peru. And many of you probably know Greg Braden. Greg gave me this it was my birthday present. So, of course, we were saying, we get some of this information or we get these symbolisms and we're like, what does that mean? Like Carol was saying, she got a lot of these things and said, what does this mean? So I thought it was very interesting. But I think it's very, bringing something from the ancient world today to share with symbolism and meaning, to me, is very important for today after I started to put all the pieces together, and the black and the white and the yin and the yang. And if you look at Tumi, this is the feminine side of Tumi. So this would be Tumi's feminine. And then I'll show you Tumi's masculine. And I have to do it from the side. It's easier to see the masculine from the side. So this is Tumi, the other side. And this reflects the solar disk, which the Incas said came from Lake Titicaca. And that is the sun. That is the solar part of us. And so it represents balance. It represents balance between the feminine and the masculine. And what do we get when we are in that place in the center and balanced? We get light. We get the sun. So when we think of the solstice, it's the time where, and the reason I believe it is so important, such an important day to celebrate, it is when the light and the dark comes together. It's when the two extremes, the two sides of who we are, enter into that one place. It's the intersection of the two. So I see that as a moment to find that moment of balance between the black and the white, between the feminine and the masculine. I have to do the masculine on the side. and realizing that by inviting in the crystal kingdom, by tapping into the ley lines of this magnificent crystal world below us today. So I call in the crystal beings. I call in those who support us underneath our feet. I call those who bring the vibration and who support this continuity and this beautiful connectivity that we often don't see in this world that lies below us. So I bring the crystal people. I bring the snowy owl. And I bring the messages from the spiral. From the spiral who creates the energy that we need to support ourselves as we move through the darkness now, finding our balance from the light into the dark. So I've prepared a crystal, and I have programmed the crystal for our group today. And I will be placing this on my altar for everyone. And what I have the crystal here as I watch today, because all this great wisdom that I'm going to get from all the rest of the people who are speaking to us, I've programmed my crystal to absorb all this wisdom, because with wisdom, we leave the extreme. With wisdom, we go to the center. And so I'm using my crystals today to program and then put with my fire ceremony, so that all this great wisdom that I learned from all the others who will be speaking today. I've got it right here, all recorded. And so as much as I might not be able to watch it during the year, I have it all here. And so I can place this in my home and in my holiday season, because I know the crystal guys got my back, and it's all here, just like it is in Silicon Valley inside your computer. So I wish everyone a beautiful solstice, and I bring to you the gift of the crystal beings.
Wow, that was beautiful. I love that. With wisdom, you go to the center. So I'm going to suggest to all of our fire tenders out there that I have one that I will add a piece of crystal to my altar today, so that anything I should have heard that I might need to hear later will be already programmed in there. What a beautiful addition to our fire tenders journey. And what an honor to sit with you. You have a great central wisdom.
Been working on it.
Well, it is. You know what? People think, oh, you can just sit up here and, but I know for me, I've been working on it over 30 years, and that's what it takes sometimes. It takes what it takes. And so I can tell you're a sister with a lot of wisdom and experience, and I've got to start opening up. I'm going to go read about the snowy owl on this lunch break.
I know, it was so exciting when I saw him come in my visions today, and I thought I couldn't wait to find out what he had to say. I said it had to be something amazing for Renee, because she's got all this wind going. And then when I saw the wind thing, I was like, oh, okay.
It sounds awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Lori. And if you can click off, leave and everybody who's still listening, the live is going to actually take a little break, and we will be back in 30 minutes with Meg Beeler, who always has some wonderful wisdom to share. And so go grab a little snack, a cup of tea. I don't know what time zone you're in, but maybe it's almost dinner time for some of you early eaters. And then in Europe, it might be time for a little bedtime snack, some warm milk. And what do they drink over there with the curdled, not the curdled tea, but there's curdled milk or something.
I'm gonna go get some hot chocolate, because it's gonna get snowy around here, and of course the Mayans celebrate everything with chocolate. I'm sure that's why I was initiated through the Mayan.
Absolutely. Chocolate? Oh, I'm thinking about
Yes, it's like, fine, I'll take it.
I'll take chocolate. All right, so take chocolate, but take a 30-minute break and join us back here in 30 minutes. And we continue until 6 p.m. tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the people over in Europe will just about be getting up by the time we're finished today. And the people from Australia can join us. So have an awesome day, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you, Lori.
Thanks to all. Ciao, ciao. Make it a wonderful fire ceremony this week, and enjoy the solstice and all the beauty and crystal energy that it brings.